Hey guys, sorry for the wait. Essentially, I've been busy with holiday stuff and this and that. But here is the Cubase project as promised. Now, it may sound a bit weird right now. It's because I'm not usually in my normal recording space, but yeah, deal with it. Cubase projects. Now, everything looks neat right now. It's because, like Ableton, I've put everything in a folder, so it's all neat when you open it. But if you just click here, bang, there is a drum mix like in the previous project. In the Cubase version, I've made a few revisions. People were essentially having issues running Serum because they weren't completely confident playing around with the waveforms, which is fair enough. And the Spire bass, because some people didn't feel confident enough to EQ a multiple layered bass patch, which is fair enough because I want this to be as accessible for people as possible. So I simplified it down a little bit in this version, and I made the bass in Kontakt. For two reasons. One, it was simpler, but another reason, because you need it. Now, when I say you need it, there's not many plugins that you will need, but if you're using Cubase, you need Kontakt. Unlike a lot of other sequences, Cubase does not give you a sampler, which I find crazy. They offer one, but it is quite pricey, and it doesn't do as much as Kontakt. Kontakt does a lot. It's compatible with a lot of sample libraries and other sequences, and the features on it I think are just heads and shoulders above everything else. So I made the bass in Kontakt. I'm just going to show you how I did that. Now, as in the previous project, I included a bass sample, which is this guy down here. So I used that as the foundation for making the bass in Kontakt. Now, what I had to do is I had to get the root of this bass. When I say the root, I mean the root key, which was G2. So what I did is I dragged the sample in here and plopped it there, put the root key here, as you can see, as G2. So across the keys, it all sounds good. And that was the easy part. I wouldn't say the difficult part, but I would say the tedious part was to get it to loop in such a way that the note was constant. Now, how I did that is I went into the wave editor, I got in real deep, and I made sure that these squigglies were looped in such a way that they formed a constant and there was no real breakup in the pattern, which may sound easy, but it's quite fiddly. If you're doing basses or synth hits, you're going to need to do this a bit. It doesn't take forever. It doesn't necessarily take skill. It just takes patience and a steady hand and a bit of trial and error, to be honest, because you want it to get in to a point where you can exactly say sound on and loop here, so the sound will be constant like this. There will be no breakup in the sound, and it will just be a constant, and it's great for if you want to do little bits and bops after, like add a filter envelope or something like that. After tracking it and everything, I decided to take it a bit further and add a few of the cool effects that are in Kontakt. So I added the Kontakt saturator, an EQ2, and an S comp just to even everything out. Then after that, I added a compressor with a sidechain. Now I'm just going to quickly walk you through how you do this in Cubase, because you can do it natively, you don't need a plugin for it. So what you do is you just select your normal Cubase compressor, and you highlight this tab here. As you can see, it says Activate Sidechain. This is step 1. So you click that tab, make sure it's lit up. Then you've got to create a source for your sidechain. So in this instance, I copied the kick. As you can see, copy of kick. And I muted the output. Now what that means is if I play that sound, there's going to be no sound coming out of it. It is a ghost channel, as people like to call it. And after that, I went down here. Now, these will only pop up after you activate a sidechain tab. You will get a sidechain drop-down menu of what you want to be a trigger. In this instance, I want the Kontakt to be sidechained. Now after you do that, it will pop up like this. Some people think, oh, I can't get any sound out. It's because after you do that, you have to turn it on. So always remember, turn it on for the sidechain to even start working. And that is how you set up a sidechain. So what I did is, obviously you only got one layer for the bass this time, but it works within the mix. You got the bass nice and attacky if you wanted to offbeat, but if you just want to do a sidechain bass, hey, it does that as well. So yeah, that's all good. Also, I got all the synths set up on the sidechain as well, so it's the same process. And a cool thing with the folder thing that they have in Cubase is, hey, if you hit the record tab for this, you can control all the synth layers at once, which I think is brilliant. And synths, as with the bass, they're also on the sidechain, so and that is the project. So it's pretty simple. Plugins you will need is SynthMaster. As I said before, get it now because it's 30% off. Use the demo off their site. Let it expire. You get an extra percentage off. It's dead cheap. It comes with some amazing sounds, and there's amazing add-on packs for it as well. So I recommend SynthMaster. Kontakt you get via the Native Instruments site. They have a bit of a sale on now, and they're going to have another one on around Easter, because they always have sales on around Easter, and Kontakt is pretty cheap around that time. And it's a must, obviously, if you have Cubase. And yeah, that is the project. So any questions, guys, as before, hit me up on Facebook. And in the next version of this template biz, I'm going to do the Logic template. And I think I may walk you through how to do some fun stuff with vocals, which is going to be cool.